Trek brings a episode of the original series of Star Trek to the park. We've adapted it from the original script. The episode aired in 1967 and it was written by Theodore Sturgeon. The episode is Amok Time. Who has seen Amok Time? Let me hear it. Okay. Who hasn't seen Amok Time ever and is seeing it for the first time today? Let me hear it. Hey, it's not even. Awesome. The park for today's show was donated to us by Seattle Parks and Rec. Let's give them a round of applause. They do have a couple of requests for us today. The first is please do not drink alcohol in the park. The second is please do not smoke in the park. I also have a request, and that's to turn off all your phones, communicators, tricorders, anything that's going to make noise during the show. Go ahead and silence them right now. Except for your mouth and your hands. Those can still make noise during the show. So my other request is if you see something that you like, that you think is funny, that you think is moving or touching or any of that, please feel free to clap, cheer, burst into tears, anything that you feel is appropriate. Let me go ahead and hear that right now. A lot of you burst into tears. That was great. I do want to let you know that this is our last show for the foreseeable future. We're taking a hiatus. We might be back year after next. We might even be back next year. We haven't quite decided yet, but we just wanted to let everybody know that might happen. We will accept donations afterwards for any future productions that Hello Earth might do, so we're giving away t-shirts and posters for suggested donations of $20 and $5 respectively. So please be aware of that. Please enjoy the show today and have a wonderful time.
Oh, Captain, got a minute?
A minute.
It's Spock. Have you noticed anything strange about him?
No, nothing in particular. Why?
It's nothing I can pinpoint without an examination, but he's become increasingly restive. If he were not a Vulcan, I'd almost say nervous. And for another thing, he's avoiding food. I checked, and he hasn't eaten at all in 3 days.
That just sounds like Mr. Spock in one of his contemplative phases.
Miss Chapel.
Doctor?
What's this?
Oh,
Vulcan plomeek soup. I'll bet you made it, too. You never give up hoping, do you?
well, Mr. Spock hasn't been eating, Doctor, and I just happened to notice.
It's all right, Miss Chapel. Carry on.
Bones, I'm a busy man.
Captain, when I told Spock it was time for his routine checkup, your logical, unemotional first officer turned to me and said, "You shall cease to pry into my personal matters, Doctor, or I shall surely break your neck."
Spock said that?
What is this? Poking and prying. If I want anything from you, I'll ask for it! Captain, I should like to request a leave of absence on my home planet. On our present course, you can divert to Vulcan with a loss of about 2.8 light days.
Spock, what the devil is all this?
I have made my request, Captain. All I require from you is that you answer it. Yes or no?
Space, the final frontier. These are the voices of the Starship Enterprise. Its 5-year mission to explore strange new worlds, to seek out new life and new civilizations, to boldly go where no man has gone before.
Watch out, wench, walk!
have it.
It is undignified for a woman to play servant to a man who is not hers.
I'm more interested in your request for leave. In all the years
You have
I've known...
my request, Captain. Will you grant it or not?
In all the years I've known you, you've never once asked for a leave of any sort. In fact, you've refused them. Why now?
Captain, surely I have enough leave time accumulated.
Agreed, but that isn't the question, is it? There's some sort of problem, an illness in the family.
No, nothing of that nature, Captain.
In that case, since we're bound for Altair 6, and since the shore facilities there are
No, I must! I wish to take my leave on Vulcan.
Spock, I'm asking you. What's wrong?
I need rest. I'm asking you to accept that answer.
Woo! Bridge helm.
Yes, Captain.
Change course for Vulcan. Increase speed to warp 4.
Aye, sir.
Thank you, Captain.
I suppose most of us overlook the fact that even Vulcans aren't indestructible.
No. We're not.
Captain's log, stardate 3372.7. On course, on schedule, bound for Altair 6 via Vulcan. First Officer Spock is showing signs of stress. He has requested and been granted shore leave. Ship Surgeon McCoy has him under medical surveillance.
Captain, message coming in on the Starfleet channel. Priority and urgent, sir.
Put it on audio over here, Lieutenant.
Message complete, sir. Switching over.
Admiral Comac, Starfleet Command to Captain Kirk, USS Enterprise, from Starfleet Sector 9. Inauguration ceremony Altair 6 has been advanced 7 solar days. You are ordered to alter your flight plan to accommodate. Acknowledge?
Lieutenant Uhura, acknowledge that message.
Aye, aye, sir.
Mr. Chekhov, compute course and speed necessary for compliance.
We'll have to head immediately there at Warp 6, sir. Insufficient time to stop off at Vulcan.
Head directly to Altair 6. Sailor's luck, Mr. Spock. Or, as one of Finagle's laws has it, any home port the ship makes will be somebody else's, not mine. New president of Altair 6 wants to get himself launched a week early, so we have to be there a week early. Don't worry. I'll see that you get your leave as soon as we're finished here.
I quite understand, Captain.
Bridge, help.
Sulu here.
Mr. Sulu, how late would we arrive for the ceremonies if we increase speed to maximum and divert to Vulcan just long enough to drop off Mr. Spock?
I don't understand, Captain.
How far behind schedule would diverting Vulcan put us?
We're on course for Vulcan, Captain, just as Mr. Spock ordered.
Thank you. Mr. Spock, come with me, please. Deck 5. changed course for Vulcan. Why?
Change the course?
Do you deny it?
No. No, by no means, Captain. It is quite possible.
Well, then why did you do it?
Captain, I accept on your word that I did it, but I do not know why, nor do I remember doing it. Captain, lock me away. I do not wish to be seen. I cannot. No Vulcan could explain further.
Spock, I'm trying to help you.
Ask me no further questions. I will not answer.
And I order you to report to sickbay.
Sickbay?
Complete examination. McCoy's waiting.
Come in, Spock. I'm all ready for you.
My orders were to report to sickbay, Doctor. I have done so. And now I'll go to my quarters.
And my orders were to give you a thorough physical. In case you hadn't noticed, I have to report to the same commanding officer that you do. Come on, Spock. Yield to the logic of the situation.
Examine me. For all the good it'll do either of us.
Kirk here.
Captain, I need you in sickbay immediately.
On my way.
Jim, you've got to get Spock to Vulcan.
Bones, I will, just as soon as we're done here.
No, now, right away. If you don't get him to Vulcan within a week, 8 days at the outside, he'll die. He'll die, Jim.
Well, why must he die? And why within 8 days? Explain.
I don't know.
You keep saying that. Are you a doctor or aren't you?
There's a growing imbalance of body functions, as if within our bodies, huge amounts of adrenaline were constantly being pumped through our systems. Now, I can't trace it down in my biocomps. Spock won't tell me what it is. But if something isn't done, the physical and emotional pressures will simply kill him.
You're convinced he knows what it is.
He does, and he's as tight-lipped about it as an Aldebaran shellmouth. It's no use to ask him, Jim. He won't talk.
Come.
Stay. Dr. McCoy's given me his medical evaluation of your condition. He says you'll die unless something is done. What? Is it something only your planet can do for you? Spock, you've been called the best first officer in the fleet. That's an enormous asset to me, and if I have to lose that first officer, I want to know why.
It is a thing no outworlder may know. Except those very few who have been involved. A Vulcan understands, but even we do not speak of it among ourselves. It is a deeply personal thing. Can you see that, Captain? And understand?
No. No, I do not understand. Explain. Consider that an order.
Captain, there are some things which transcend even the discipline of the service.
Would it help if I told you I would treat this as completely confidential?
It has to do with biology.
What?
Biology.
What kind of biology?
Vulcan.
Biology. As in the biology of Vulcans? Biology as in reproduction. Spot, it's nothing to be embarrassed about. It happens to the birds and the bees.
The birds and the bees are not Vulcans. They were. If any creature as proudly logical as us were to have their logic ripped from them as this time does to us. How do Vulcans choose their mates? Haven't you wondered?
Well, I suppose the rest of us assume it's done most, logically.
No. It is not. We shield it with ritual and customs shrouded in antiquity. You humans have no conception. It strips our minds from us. It brings a madness which rips away our veneer of civilization. It is the pon farr, the time of mating. There are precedents in nature, Captain. The giant eel birds of Regulus 5. Once each 11 years, they must return to the caverns where they hatched. On your Earth, the salmon. They must return to that one stream where they were born. To spawn. Or die in trying.
You're not a fish, Mr. Spock.
No! Nor am I a man. I'm a Vulcan. I'd hoped I would be spared this, but the ancient drives are too strong. Eventually they catch up with us, and we are driven by forces we cannot control. To return home and take a wife. Or die.
I haven't heard a word you've said. And I'll get you to Vulcan somehow.
How do you figure it, Chekhov? First we're going to Vulcan, then we're going to Altair, then we're headed back to Vulcan, now we're headed back to Altair again.
I think I'm going to get space sick.
Woo! Lieutenant Tahura, get me Admiral Comac at Starfleet Command Sector 9. Pipe it down to McCoy's office.
Starfleet Command, yes, sir.
Mr. Sulu, you don't think...
Maybe you ought to plot a course back to Vulcan, just in case.
Captain, you're making a most unusual request.
I'm aware of that, sir, but it's of the utmost importance. You must let me divert to Vulcan.
But you refuse to explain why it is so important?
I can't, sir, but believe me, I wouldn't make such a request if it
Altair
wasn't...
6 is no ordinary matter. That area is just rebuilding itself after a long interplanetary conflict. This inauguration will stabilize the entire Altair system. Our appearance there is a demonstration of friendship and strength that will cause ripples clear to the Klingon Empire.
Sir, the delay would be at most a day. I can hardly think
You will
that the...
proceed to Altair 6 as ordered. You have your orders. Starfleet out.
Well, that's that.
No, it's not. I know the Altair situation. We'd be one of 3 starships. Very impressive, very diplomatic, and simply not that vital.
You can't go off to Vulcan against Starfleet orders, you'll be busted.
I can't let him die, can I, Bones? And he will if we go to Altair. I owe him my life a dozen times over. Isn't that worth a career? He's my friend. Woo! Bridge, navigation.
Bridge, navigation.
Change course for Vulcan. Tell engineering I want warp 8 better. Push her for all she'll take.
Course already plotted, laying it in, sir.
I see. Very well. Carry on, Mr. Chekhov. Kirk out.
Mr. Spock. Lieutenant Uhura here. Captain Scott.
Miss Chap?
Oh, yes, Mr. Spock?
I had a most startling dream.
Oh,
You were trying to tell me something, and I couldn't. It would be illogical for us to protest against our natures.
I don't understand. I came to tell you that we are bound for Vulcan. We'll be there in just a few days.
Vulcan. Miss Chapel.
My name is Christine.
I know. Christine. Would you make me some of that plomeek soup?
I'd be very glad to do that, Mr. Spock.
Bridge. It is obvious that you have surmised my problem, Doctor. My compliments on your insight. Captain, there is a thing that happens to Vulcans at this time. Almost an insanity, which you would no doubt find distasteful.
Would I? You've been most patient with my kinds of madness.
Then, would you beam down to the planet's surface and stand with me? There is a brief ceremony.
Is it permitted?
It is my right. By tradition, the male is accompanied by his closest friends.
Thank you, Mr. Spock.
I also request McCoy accompany me.
I shall be honored,
Captain, we're standing by on Vulcan hailing frequencies, sir.
Open a channel, Lieutenant. Vulcan Space Central, this is USS Enterprise requesting permission to assume standard orbit.
USS Enterprise from Vulcan Space Central. Permission granted. From all of Vulcan, welcome. Is Commander Spock with you?
This is Spock.
Stand by to activate your central viewer, please.
Doctor, what's going on?
Spock, it is I.
T'Pring, parted from me and never parted. Never and always touching and touched. We meet at the appointed place.
Spock, parted from me and never parted. Never and always touching and touched. I await you.
She's lovely, Mr. Spock. Who is she?
She is T'Pring, my wife. This is the land of my family. It has been held by us for more than 2,000 Earth years. This is our place of Kunut Khalifi.
He called it Kunat what?
He described it to me as meaning marriage or challenge. In the distant past, Vulcans killed to win their mates.
They still go mad at this time.
Perhaps it's the price they pay for having no emotions the rest of the time.
Lovely. Wish the breeze were cooler.
Yeah. Hot as Vulcan. Now I understand what that phrase means.
The atmosphere is thinner than Earth's.
I wonder when his T'Pring arrives.
The marriage party approaches. I hear them.
Marriage party, but you said T'Pring was your wife.
By our parents' arrangement. A ceremony when we were but 7 years of age. Less than a marriage, but more than a betrothal. One touches the other in order to feel each other's thoughts. In this way, our minds were locked together, so that at the proper time we would both be drawn to Kunut Khalifi.
Holmes, you know who that is? That's T'Pau of Vulcan. Only person to ever turn down a seat on the Federation Council.
T'Pau, officiating at Spock's wedding.
Spock never mentioned his family was this important.
Spock, our ceremonies for Outworlders.
They are not Outworlders. They are my friends. I am permitted this. This is Kirk.
Ma'am?
And they are called?
Leonard McCoy, ma'am.
The names these Outworlders' friends. How does thee pledge their behavior?
With my life, T'Pau.
What they are about to see comes down from the time of the beginning without change. This is the Vulcan heart. This is the Vulcan soul. This is our way. Kuiper!
Khalifi!
What is it? What's happened?
She chooses the challenge.
With him?
He acts only if cowardice is seen. She will choose her champion.
Spock.
Do not attempt to speak with him, Kirk. He is deep in the plaque tau, the blood fever. He will not speak with thee again until he has passed through what is to come. If thee wishes to depart, thee may leave now.
We'll stay.
Spock chose his friends well.
Ma'am, I don't understand. Are you trying to say that she rejected him, that she doesn't want him?
He will have to fight for her. It is her right. T'Pring, he has chosen the Khalifi, the challenge. They are prepared to become the property of the victor?
I am prepared.
Spock, does they accept the challenge according to our laws and customs?
I think Spock can handle him.
I doubt it. Not in his present condition.
T'Pring, they'll choose thy champion.
As it was in the dawn of our days, as it is today, as it will be for all tomorrows, I make my choice. This one!
No, I am to be the one. It was agreed.
Be silent.
Hear me. I make the ancient claim. I claim the right. The woman is...
Corcus!
I ask forgiveness.
Kirk, T'Pring is within her rights, but our laws and customs are not binding upon thee. They are free to decline with no harm on thyself.
T'Pau!
He speaks.
My friend does not understand.
The choice has been made, Spock. It is up to him now.
He does not know. I will do what I must, T'Pau, but not with him. His blood does not burn. He is my friend.
It is said thy Vulcan blood is thin. Are the Vulcans? Are the human?
I burn to power. My eyes are flame. My heart is flame. He has the power to power. In the name of my fathers, forbid! Forbid! To power! I plead with thee. I beg.
Thee hast prided thyself on thy Vulcan heritage. It is decided.
What happens to Spock if I decline?
Another champion will be selected. Do not interfere, Kirk. Keep thy place.
You can't do it, Jim.
I can't?
No, she said their laws and customs are not binding on you.
You said Spock might not be able to handle it. Look, if I just knock him out without really hurting him...
In this climate, if the heat doesn't get you the thin air will, you can't do it.
If I get in any trouble, I'll quit. And then Spock wins and honor is satisfied.
Jim, listen, if you think you could pull that
He's my
kind of-
first officer and my friend. Disregarded Starfleet orders to bring him here. And another thing, that's T'Pau of Vulcan. All of Vulcan in one package. I can't back out in front of her.
It is done. Kirk, decide.
I accept the challenge.
Here begins the act of combat for possession of the woman to Pring. As it was in the time of the beginning, so it is now. Bring forth the Lurpa. If both survive the Lurpa, combat will continue with the odd wound.
Sorry, what do you mean if both survive?
This combat is to the death.
Who said anything about a fight to the death?
Ma'am, these men are friends. To force them to fight till one of them is killed...
I can forgive such a display only once. Challenge was given and lawfully accepted. It has begun. Let no one interfere.
Is this Vulcan chivalry? The air's too hot and too thin for Kirk. He's not used to it.
The air is the air. What can be done?
I can compensate for the atmosphere and the temperature with this. At least it'll give Kirk a fighting chance.
Thee may proceed.
You're gonna have to kill him, Jim.
Kill Spock. That's not what I came to Vulcan for, is it? What's that?
It's a triox compound. It'll help you breathe. Now be careful.
Sound medical advice.
The odd wound!
Get your hands off him, Spock. He's finished. He's dead.
I grieve with thee.
McCoy Enterprise.
Enterprise, Lieutenant Ahura here.
Have the transporter room stand by to beam up the landing party. Strange as it may seem, Mr. Spock, you're in command now. Any orders?
Yes. I'll follow you up in a few minutes. You will instruct Mr. Chekhov to plot a course to the nearest starbase, where I must surrender myself to the authorities.
Specify.
Why the challenge? And why you chose my captain as your champion?
Ston wanted me, I wanted him.
I see no logic in preferring Stan over me.
Oh, you have become much known among our people, Spock. Almost a legend. And as the years went by, I came to know that I did not want to be the consort of a legend. But by the laws of our people, I could only divorce you by the Caliphate. There was also Stan, who wanted very much to be my consort, and I wanted him. If your captain were Victor, he would not want me, and so I would have Stan. If you were Victor, you would free me because I had dared to challenge, and again I would have Stan. But if you did not free me, it would be the same, for you would be gone, and I would have your name and your property, and Stan would still be there. Like a boss.
Logical. Flawlessly logical.
I am honored.
Stan, she is yours. After a time, you may come to find that having is not so pleasing a thing after all as wanting. It is not logical, but it is often true. Spock here. Stand by to beam up. Live long, T'Pau, and prosper.
Live long and prosper, Spock.
I shall do neither. I have killed my captain and my friend. Immediately, of course.
Spock,
so I would appreciate your making the final arrangements.
Spock,
Doctor, please, let me finish. There can be no excuse for the crime of which I'm guilty. I intend to offer no defense. Furthermore, I shall order Mr. Scott to take immediate command of this vessel.
Don't you think you'd better check with me first?
I'm pleased to see you, Captain. You seem uninjured. I'm at something of a loss to understand it, however.
Blame McCoy. That was a Triox compound he shot me with. Slipped in a neural paralyzer. Knocked me out cold, simulated death.
Indeed.
Nurse, would you mind, please? Spock, what happened down there? The girl, the wedding.
Oh, yes. The girl. Most interesting. It must have been the combat. When I thought I had killed the captain, I found I had lost all interest in T'Pring. The madness was gone.
Kirk here.
Captain Kirk, message from Starfleet Command. Top priority.
Relay it, Lieutenant.
Response to T'Pau's request for diversion of Enterprise to planet Vulcan hereby approved. Any reasonable delay granted. Comac, Admiral, Starfleet Command.
Well, a little late, but at least they're seeing things our way. How about that T'Pau? Couldn't turn her down. Mr. Chekhov, lay in a course for Altair 6. Leave orbit when ready. Kirk out.
There's just one more thing, Mr. Spock. You can't tell me that when you first saw Jim alive, you weren't on the verge of giving us an emotional scene that would have brought the house down.
Merely my quite logical relief that Starfleet had not lost a highly proficient captain.
Yes, Mr. Spock. I understand.
Thank you, Captain.
Well, of course, Mr. Spock. Your reaction was quite logical.
Thank you, Doctor.
In a pig's eye.
Let's go mine the store.
Quick, wolf! this 21st century Earth park.
Indeed, Spock, after that last episode, I thought we could all use a little shore leave.
And we do seem to be tied to this particular location.
Not necessarily forever. Remember, the mission was originally for 5 years.
Surely we do not intend to retire, Jim. I can hardly imagine you behind a desk.
I can hardly imagine you performing the colonard, purging yourself of all emotions. Stranger things have happened.
Do not be ridiculous, Captain. We have many adventures ahead of us, some of which may lay outside current mission parameters.
Perhaps you're right, Spock. Perhaps we simply need a little time to think about it and figure out what our next adventure is. It doesn't have to be a trek.
Are you implying that our audience may see us return, but in completely different guises?
Perhaps. There are many things with star in the title.
Indeed.
I don't know though, Mr. Spock. Do you think our audiences would appreciate other efforts? They seem to have enjoyed them so far.
Denizens of late capitalist Earth have a tendency to express their appreciation financially.
It's very true, Mr. Spock. In fact, donations are why we're here.
Explain.
Well, without the generosity of this and other audiences, the time loaned by volunteers, and other crewmates who, like you and I, work without financial compensation, we never could have gone this far.
The logical conclusion being that at such a time when future endeavors commence, it will be thanks to the generosity of these and other local citizens.
Indeed. But how will such local citizens find out about future endeavors?
Through our established channels of communication. Hello Earth on Facebook, Twitter, and HelloEarthProductions.com.
So is this goodbye for now, Spock?
Let us not say goodbye, Jim. Let us instead say, live long and prosper.
You have been and always shall be a wonderful audience.
If you do want a poster or a t-shirt, you can make your donations right